Are you looking for the best routers for gaming? In this video we will look at some of the 6 best routers for gaming on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. ASUS ROG Rapture GT6 The ASUS ROG Rapture GT6 doesn't look all that special at first glance with a dual-band AX6000 connection, but it still has plenty of capacity and speed for gaming. Online gaming doesn't really need a ton of raw speed, and even streaming to Twitch is limited to just a few Mbps. Still, this router delivers up to 4804 Mbps at 5 GHz and 1148 Mbps at 2.4 GHz, which is plenty fast for most families. It also has two 2.5 Gbps Ethernet ports supporting a multi-gig internet connection and a fast device like a high-speed NAS. If you take gaming seriously, you should really be using a wired connection to your router. The GT6 has a prioritized LAN port for your gaming PC or console, so you can get the best possible latency without any further configuration. This allows your gaming data to essentially cut in line, because adding a couple of extra milliseconds doesn't matter for a Netflix stream but can matter a lot for getting a headshot. It also has a toggle to improve ping for mobile gaming over Wi-Fi. Number 2. ASUS ROG Strix AX3000 Realistically, most people don't need the power of the fastest gaming routers, and in many cases, they're paying for capacity they lack the ability to even use. The ROG Strix AX3000 has plenty of power for most people, with up to 2402 Mbps available at 5 GHz. So if you have a 4x4 Wi-Fi 6 card in your gaming PC, you've got full speed. If not, you have leftover capacity for your other devices like your phone. This router is a great pick for a smaller home with 1 or 2 people and an internet connection up to 1 Gbps. On the back of the router, there are 4 gigabit LAN ports for your wired devices and a gigabit WAN port. That means support is limited to gigabit internet connections or lower, but for most people, this is plenty. LAN port 1 is designated as a gaming port and is automatically prioritized. If possible, you should be using Ethernet for your gaming PC, since it won't be subject to any wireless congestion. Number 3. TP-Link Archer GX90 The TP-Link Archer GX90 has a tri-band AX6600 connection with 2 of the bands set up for general use, with the 3rd band dedicated to gaming traffic. It's like having an AX1800 Wi-Fi router for most of the devices in your home, with another 4804 Mbps available only to your gaming devices. One thing to keep in mind, however, is that this fast gaming band uses DFS spectrum, which is shared with some radar systems. As a result, if the router detects a radar signal for even a second, it immediately vacates the spectrum. For most people, this is a non-issue, and DFS spectrum offers a large chunk of open spectrum with very little congestion. On the back of the router, there are 5 total Ethernet ports with 3 gigabit ports for LAN, 1 gigabit port for WAN or LAN, and a 2.5 Gbps port for WAN or LAN. That means support for internet connection over 1 Gbps or the use of a 2.5 Gbps device like a newer gaming PC or NAS system. There are also 2 USB ports that can be used for network storage, with support for Time Machine backups on Mac. Number 4. ASUS ROG Rapture GTX 16000 If you can afford it, there's no doubt that the incredibly fast ASUS ROG Rapture GTX 16000 will deliver all the speed you could possibly need, whether you're gaming, streaming, or both. This router has support for ultra-fast networking with dual 10 Gbps Ethernet ports and 4 wireless bands. The Wi-Fi speeds break down to 1148 Mbps at 2.4 GHz. 4804 Mbps at 5 GHz-1, 4804 Mbps at 5 GHz-2, and 4804 Mbps at 6 GHz at the same time. That means that no matter which bands or Wi-Fi version your device supports, you're getting its top speed on this router. Wi-Fi 6E uses 6 GHz spectrum in addition to 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz spectrums used by older routers. While 6 GHz doesn't offer the same level of coverage as 2.4 GHz or even 5 GHz, its relative newness means that not many devices are using it, so congestion is low. Besides that, Wi-Fi 6E has access to 160 MHz bands, so even if all of your neighbors upgrade to Wi-Fi 6E, you can still find an empty channel. Reducing interference is key to consistent speeds on Wi-Fi, and with many of the latest gaming PCs and motherboards supporting Wi-Fi 6E, many people will be able to make use of it right away. Number 5. ASUS ROG Rapture GT6. Building a proper gaming mesh system involves a lot more than adding gaming COS features to an existing fast mesh system. ASUS has done a lot to make sure its ROG Rapture GT6 gaming mesh has the speed it needs to keep gaming connections moving without tapping into 6 GHz spectrum or DFS. This AX1000 tri-band mesh system uses newly available spectrum at 5.9 GHz to offer dual 160 MHz bands with relatively little congestion. That's 574 Mbps at 2.4 GHz, 4804 Mbps at 5.2 GHz, and 4804 Mbps at 5.9 GHz. That means the mesh backhaul can use a full 160 MHz connection with plenty of speed left over for the rest of your devices. Number 6. Arris W6B Surfboard Thruster. If you're looking to get fast internet speeds to your PC or console across the house without upgrading your router or running an Ethernet cable, the Arris Surfboard Thruster W6B could be the perfect solution. The W6B uses Wi-Fi 6E to establish a link between the sender and receiver to provide a fast Ethernet connection. Each unit has a 2.5 Gbps Ethernet port, so if you've got access to a multi-gig wired network, your speeds will stay high. Wi-Fi 6E uses largely vacant chunks of 6 GHz spectrum, so speeds can stay high even when you live in an area with a lot of neighboring Wi-Fi access points. The W6B is a two-piece kit with a sender, receiver, 2 Ethernet cables, and 2 power adapters in the box. To set it up, you simply plug the sender into your router using the Ethernet cable and plug it into power. On the other end, you plug the receiver into your console or PC using Ethernet and connect it to power. The devices will automatically connect to one another, and as far as your PC or console knows, it's just using Ethernet to connect to your router.